Hi guys, today we're gonna talk torque. About torque wrenches. These are my torque wrenches, from very low to high. Let's start this one. This goes from zero torque up to 4. 4 is barely nothing. But then again, it's a nice torque wrench. Then we got here my tank tools, and this one goes from 5 Newton meters up to 25 Newton meters. Then we have slightly bigger, this one, that goes from 19 till 110 Newton meters. Then over here we have my digital torque wrench. It's from the brand Vacom. Perhaps you've heard about it. And this one has memory settings. And the difference between these and this one is this mechanism clicks. You first screw it to the amount of torque you want, and then when the torque is reached, it clicks, click, click, and you can feel it also in the handle. This one, the electronic one, beeps. It has LEDs over here. 135. That's the highest torque I can reach with this one. So it's just over this one. Nice one too. I don't use it that often. I'm the old-fashioned. I like the click system. Now, and here we've got the one for front sprockets. Sometimes they need to be at a really high torque, or rear axles. This one goes from 28 all the way up to 210. So that's the range. For me, I can do all the motorcycles with these torque wrenches. And then I got a special one. I bought this thing years and years ago. The brand is Power Build, and actually it's a really great one, because I'll show you. With this thing you can make all ratchets like this into a torque wrench. Just put it in between your socket and the ratchet. When I apply force onto it, watch, and where I stop, it shows me the torque. Then I do the trace. See, it beeps when I reach 40 Newton meters. So that was this one. I think it's a really nice thing. The only downside I think it has is that it needs batteries. It's the same with this one. Over time batteries or die, and then you take it, you have to go inside, look for batteries, and then I don't like that. So these things don't need batteries. Easy. What can I tell you about torque? Why do I always torque bolts exactly to the specs what's in the official factory service manual? I have seen tests. Of course, now I get a lot of comments in the comments where they make really good mechanics to torque a bolt to a certain amount of torque, Newton meters, without a torque wrench. So, just by their knowledge, their feelings, how tight, let's say, 30 Newton meters is. And guess what? Some got close, but it was a lucky shot. So, it is difficult to do it by hand without a torque wrench. The bolt might be too loose, and then over time it makes the part come loose, or when it's too tight then the bolt could snap, or when it's like mostly on motorcycles, it's steel into aluminium. It's gonna strip the thread, the aluminium thread, not the bolt, no, but the aluminium. So I've seen it a lot. I screw out a bolt and it was just over tightened, and they already stripped the thread, yeah, to 75%. So when I got it out, right away I felt, oh, this is not good. And then the problem begins. You need to drill it out, go to a bigger bolt. Sometimes you can do that. Or you need to drill it out and mount a helicoil. And that's, I'm sure you know them, these things. It's some sort of, yeah, what is it, spring-like thing. And that's absolute preventable, I'm sure. Now, I'm gonna show you why the factory chooses a specific amount of torque. It all has to do with the ability of steel. I got here bolts for you, both stainless steel, A2, E2, I have to say. This is non-marked, which is probably glass 4.8, and this is 8.8. This is also 8.8. This is also 8.8, and this is an Allen bolt. This one is a 10.9, and that's the hardness of the steel. It goes from 4.8, and then most of the time you have a class 8.8, these are. Then you got 10.9, which is already harder. And then as top of the bill, we have 12.9, which is really hard. And it depends on the purpose which hardness the factory uses. So I'm going to show you a small test, not really scientific, but what happens when you torque a bolt? Well, when you torque a bolt to the specific amount of torque, the bolt stretches a bit, a tiny bit, and that stretch makes it that it holds the parts in place. Perhaps not the right word for it, but it acts like some sort of spring, a solid spring. So it won't, you stretch it, and the steel wants, the iron steel wants to go back to its original size. And that stretch is the reason that you don't lose parts on your motorcycle. That's actually what it's all about. So now let's take this bolt, this one. It's an 8.8 6 millimeters. It says 20. I can't measure that, the amount of stretch, with just this kind of caliper. The accuracy is into the hundreds, and we need something that measures into the thousandths of a mil. So for those kind of things I got my electronical digital micrometer, and this one measures into the thousandths. So let's do that. Another tip: whenever you don't use your torque wrench, this is the free play. See? Always screw it in until it starts become, and leave it over there.
This one's the same. Here is the free play, and you go heavier. Also, and this one.
Yeah, this is an electronic one. It's totally different thing. Over here we have my very scientifically set up. I placed my digital micrometer into an old vise with some paper. I don't want to ruin my micrometer. Carefully, it's tight, but not so. I think I can see. I can wiggle it still. Now first, what are we gonna do? Take a piece of scientific paper, toilet paper. Now screw it in, and then it has this ratchet here, and that ratchet makes sure that you can't apply too much force. So it's now 0.4 thousandths. Push the reset button. Now it's 0. Let's see. See? 0. 0. Okay. Over here I have my little bolt. It's 8.8 class. 8.8 is the strength of the bolt. I made this totally flat because it had the marks onto it. We just measured it. It's 20 mil. We're first gonna measure this bolt. Carefully put it in the middle. Stand over here to see. Wait a minute. Up, up, up. It's 20.088. I'm gonna take these two washers, about 2 mil thick, and I'm gonna torque them together. I put it in my vise. I got my torque wrench. It's set to 11. Take a wrench of 10. And now carefully, so. Now it's exactly on 11 Newton meters. And now we're gonna look if this bolt has stretched like I said it would. Let's see. Do you think it's stretched? I do. I'm sure. Remember, the length of the bolt was 20.088. Now let's see. Hop. It's now at 20 mil point 114. So the bolt stretched 20.026. This is holding now, but there is always a but. This is only the right way when it's a nut bolt attachment, and it doesn't work that way often on motorcycles, because in a motorcycle you have a lot of bolts that holding aluminium parts together, and then you always have a very less torque. If you torque a bolt like this with 11 Newton meters, the chance is great that you strip the thread, because the bolt can't flex, stretch. So I always go for the torque that the manufacturer sets in its service manual for each bolt. Not so long ago, YouTube channel, and it was about torquing the calipers. Don't pinpoint me at the right amounts. It was about a BMW. BMW said you have to torque them with, I'm not sure, but let's say 40 Newton meters. And remember, that's a steel bolt holding a caliper in place onto the front fork, the lower part, which is always aluminium. That guy said you need to torque them, not what factory manuals say, but you can torque them 70 Newton meters. Well, I can assure you that in that specific application is very dangerous, because it's a high stress application. When you brake really heavy, the disc is spinning and the caliper is holding on, and all it wants is moved together with the disc. So there is always a lot of stress on those components. So suppose you torque them at 7T. There comes a lot of stress onto the thread of the aluminium lower part of the fork where it's bolted on. That's really dangerous. Really dangerous. You want to lose everything on your bike except your calipers. I think I would. So always stick to what service manuals say. So guys, this was my video about my torque wrenches and about torque also. I hope you liked it, and if you do, please subscribe to my channel. I really would appreciate that. And I'm sure you have something to say on this topic. Please put it in the comments. But remember, always be polite. I am polite. There is no reason to start with "this is BS" of "you're talking shit," those kinds of comments. If you are that frustrated, please skip my channel. I only want people who like to see me doing maintenance on a bike, and I have my own views onto things. So, that said, Old Mechanic out.